Hi everyone, Messy Coder here. This video is a little different. I'm interviewing Mike from the award-winning Synty Studios. Sit back, enjoy, and I'll see you guys in a second.
Home is behind, the world ahead, and there are many paths to tread, through shadow to the edge of night, until the stars are all alight. Mist and shadow, cloud and shade, all shall fade, all shall fade.
Hi everyone, Messy Coder here. Welcome to a new series that I'm kicking off where I'm interviewing famous people. That's right, famous artists, programmers, developers, and we've got with us today Mike from Synty Studios, the award-winning Synty Studios. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thanks very much. I don't know if I'm famous, but thank you very much. It's good to be here.
Well, you've won an award, so you're famous.
Oh yeah, no, it's a big honor, and we're pretty stoked. So, hopefully, we can keep the quality bar high and just keep producing really good stuff. I think it's kind of our goal.
Well, you've said it now.
We didn't set out to win an award, but it's great to win it.
Now you've got it. You've set the bar. You need to doing it, don't you? Next year.
No,
you need to win
wait
3
to
of
see.
them. Oh, for falling through the ground.
Aye. Most of the demo scenes are made by one of our artists, Justin. He's very skilled at what he does. I think he spent a lot of time as in his teenage years before studying and that. He did a lot of modding work and making. He used Forge a lot in Halo 3, and he really enjoyed that. So he's a young guy, but he's very skilled at making the levels, and I think a lot of that comes from his gaming days and having fun in Halo and that kind of thing. So he's very meticulous at what he does, which is great. I really love seeing these scenes kind of slowly be created and being able to get in there and look at them and stuff. And it's we try to leave no stone unturned, if you know what I mean. Like as much detail as we can. We want to have somebody open the scene and just right from the get-go go, wow, there's a lot here, this is really cool, and then we can at least show people also how they can use assets in various ways to get different looks and things, whether it be that crane hanging there or changing the colors of the buildings, things like that. So does he use any tools when he's doing these demo scenes? Yeah, so he uses Prefab Painter a lot. Prefab Painter is it's just a really cool tool for doing all the grasses and things, so all of those are kind of painted in with the Prefab Painter. It's just kind of a really nice tool from the store. That allows you to paint, just use a big brush and you can just paint on surfaces. It's very cool. And ProGrids for snapping and things like that. So with ProGrids you can kind of move stuff into position roughly, and then you can click a button and it'll snap. You can also turn on snapping mode, so it just stays snapping constantly. And it just has some really cool kind of grid features and things. So ProGrids is another one we use a lot as well.
Well, they've got quite a few different ones in that toolset, don't they? The Pro Tools. So is there anything else from there that you use, or is it just the ProGrids?
It's just the ProGrids. What else is there? Oh, we've had a play around with Scene Fusion. We've started to give that a little bit of a go because we want to be able to, when we do our next big pack, we want to be able to at the same time, build the scene and that kind of thing, and just have the one scene we look after. So using the new Unity Collab, which is awesome, we should be able to potentially have one scene, and we can just kind of have all of our artists working on the same thing at the same time, which would be really, really cool.
So I'm just going to draw your attention to a little...
Oh, there's a little hole on the back faces.
There you go.
So I think the fix for that would just be to scale the roofs slightly smaller, because the roofs are not supposed to have back faces on them because they were quite heavy. So for us it would just be a matter of scaling the meshes in the demo scene slightly, because the roofs are separate to the buildings. So you can have multiple story buildings and you just slap a roof on top.
Sorry about that, man. I always like to point out little annoying things.
No, that's all good. I'm sure there'll be a few things in here. I try not to look too hard at the demo scenes, just in case I find stuff. I'm like, we've really got to get this finished. But we try and get stuff as good as possible. But you know, anything that we find, we'll just go back and fix. It's super easy for us to do small updates and that kind of thing. So not an issue.
No, look, to be honest, I give asset creators a hard time with their demo scenes, because the way I see it is that a demo scene is your opportunity to showcase just how wonderful your kit is, because no one can really do it better than you at the start, because you know it inside out. So sometimes when people do like a half-assed job, there's no excuse for that. To be fair, like, and I'm talking to you, and as you can see, I don't have any embarrassment to point out when I see something that, you know, go, look at that. You have got one of the best set of demo scenes. This and the city pack, pretty like made me go, wow, this is like a finished game. This is pretty fantastic. There was that one thing in the city pack where you had
I saw that.
But that was it. So I couldn't find anything else, and I went looking.
So
I looked everywhere to find more.
So I think those just weren't snapped properly, because I had a look at the Unreal version, it was fine. So it didn't look like a mesh issue, it just looked like in the demo scene they just weren't snapped to a grid. So that's super easy to fix for us. So that's easy. Yeah, no, I think those roofs, they should be more like that, I think. Oh no, those ones there are probably a little bit too big as well. Maybe we'll just add the back faces to them. I mean, they wouldn't be too expensive. It's probably, I don't know, maybe 50 tries or something. It's probably worth spending the try cost on them.
It is, because sometimes, you know, you like a bit of an overlap on your tile, especially like the old.
Yeah. I mean, because Unity has issues. You can see how the shadow there is not casting correctly. You can kind of see there's like a gap between the roof tiles and the shadow. Yeah, that's kind of a shadow drawing bug, which you can change by changing the null bias and stuff on the lights. But adding back faces to it may help issues like that as well. And we wouldn't pay too much of a triangle cost on that either, just having the back faces on there. So it's definitely something I'll look at.
So you mentioned Unreal a couple of times. So you're using Unreal and as well as Unity. Like, is it more towards Unreal, or is Unity where you're focusing more on?
So Unity's our lead SKU. So we're basically doing we basically do Unity development and then we port it to Unreal. So Unreal for us is a porting task rather than like a very, you know, a majorly creative task. So we're doing all that kind of R&D stuff in Unity. We're doing all that new shader stuff. For dungeons, we've got these really cool little candelabra's that actually have individual flames per candle, and they look amazing. And they're all animated, and it's all particle effects and stuff. But we do all that stuff in Unity, and we just, you know, if we can get it to work in Unity, we can generally then replicate that in Unreal. But Unity is definitely our preferred platform.
I was going to get into a bit of a Unreal versus Unity. So
See, I love Unreal. I'm not gonna doubt, shoot them down or anything. But I really do like Unreal. But for us, Unity is just a little bit easier to use. It's got some cool new features like collab, and to be honest, the Unity's been really great to us. I mean, the Unreal guys have been really good too, but Unity's kind of where we started, and it's obviously something we really enjoy working with. So, for us at the time, at the current time, that's definitely our pick. But hey, I love Unreal personally.
So, what got you started with Unity in the first place? Was it just because it's ease of use, or anything in particular?
So I was working at a game company, like an indie game company, and we were making Flash games. And then, kind of after about a year of making no money and 2-minute noodles and all that, we basically were like, oh, well, let's try some other stuff. So me and one of the coder guys started playing around with Unity. Because it was free, it was like, hey, we'll give this a go. It had a nice interface. I think it was like version 3 or something at the time. So we started, having a jam with that, and then we found out it was like, hey, this is actually pretty cool. This is quite fun, and we can totally make something with this. And then, I kind of started making a couple of assets for it, and I kind of was like, hey, there's a store here. I was like, this is kind of cool. So I put a couple of things on the store, and they were on there for, maybe 6 months or something. I had the odd sale, and I was like, oh, that's actually kind of cool, So eventually, a couple of years later, we kind of, me and my friend, we just were like, hey, let's make something and see if we can, make some cash out of this, so that because he was working on a game and I was working at Weta at the time, and it was just a matter of trying to get a little bit more kind of cash flow going and use our art skills. So we made Simpletown over the course of a couple of days, and that was kind of the start. But yeah, for us, it was mainly just, we were dabbling and we were just trying out different engines, and, it was like, Unity, it's free, it's kind of cool, let's give it a shot. And ever since then, I was like, this is really easy to use, I quite like it. So, it's a 3D package, it's fully featured, and, it does a damn good job, so, yeah.
So what made you choose, I have to say that the Simpletown is one of the first assets that I actually picked up. I got it for prototyping. But what made you choose that style, that like kind of Minecraft-esque, simple, low poly?
Yeah, so we did quite a bit of looking on the internet. We did some research and we're like, what should we do? And we're like, well, obviously a city asset kind of, is pretty usable. We didn't want to have to do characters or anything. We wanted to do some like simple kind of basic vehicles and things like that. But for us, we just did a lot of reference, and we really like that kind of graphic design, cubey kind of look that a lot of people have. They kind of had this, there's a few pixel art kind of things that came out. They were those really detailed pixel art cities. You might remember some of them, and they looked amazing. And those were kind of good reference for us. We were like, hey, that's actually pretty cool. We could maybe make some kind of 3D cubey stuff. We could have this kind of cell shaded look. So that was kind of it. We just, found some cool reference on the internet and just kind of went for it. Something that was for us was easy to make, and it was quite fun.
Because you're a proper 3D artist at the end of the day, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you want to because I know we've had a little bit of a chat beforehand, and I fell off my chair when you said it. So I just wanted to gently ease it in, but I'm so excited and such a geek that one simply does not walk into Pirate Town. So would you like to just give a bit of an insight into the previous projects that you have worked on that are of note that have got me shivering with excitement?
Okay. So I've worked on a few cool projects. I've worked on a few games, and then I spent about 4 or 5 years doing that, and then I got a job at Weta Digital, and I worked as a junior modeler on the first Hobbit, the second Hobbit, and then I was promoted to full, just regular artist, whatever it is, the standard artist, and then I spent a few months on the third Hobbit, and then I moved to the virtual art department, which is it's kind of hard to explain. It was like real-time previs. They have virtual cameras and things like that, and then I worked on a bunch of movies doing that. So Valerian, Planet of the Apes, Jungle Book, you name it. I think I worked on 18 movies or something by the end of it. And then Synty Studios was started about halfway through that. But it was really awesome to get to work on the Hobbit. For me, it's like a Kiwi production, and it was really awesome to be a part of that. So I'm super proud of being able to do that. It was pretty cool.
It's amazing to know that something that you've created has been in so many people's homes. It's a bit of a creepy way of thinking about it, but you've been in a lot of people's lounges and bedrooms.
Yeah. Bedrooms, yeah. It is pretty cool, and I mean, it's the same kind of thing with their art assets now. Like, we kind of see it crop up everywhere, but it's very much like the movies I've worked on. They've been seen by a lot of people, but it was just really cool being part of such a massive team, and everyone there is awesome. These are all the best in the world, and they are all great people. So, it's kind of like a learning ground. You can't get any better than somewhere like Weta Digital. It's just absolutely fantastic, and I would say that that kind of turbocharged my skill set to be able to help with this kind of stuff. And I got a lot of in the virtual art department, we did a lot of artwork stuff. We did a lot of arty things. We did a lot of compositions. We did a lot of set building and things like that. So for us, that's really helped with our Polygon series and just the way we do things and the way we set it up.
What do you because this experience that you got in the movies and working on such amazing projects, what do you enjoy more? Is it now, do you feel like get the same buzz from doing games, or is it just not the same?
I mean, I always like doing games. I think that for me personally, I get to walk around the stuff I make. I get to see it in real time. I get to do lighting and things, but then I get to move the camera without waiting a week for it to render. For me, it's a little bit more fun, but I also really like the technical challenges of things as well. Like, not only am I building cool models, but everything needs to be performance optimized. It all needs to be clean. We don't want to have faces that are too close together. We want to make sure the roof tiles have back faces on them. It's it's just the challenge of it, and I like the fact that we can be quite cartoony with what we're doing here. I really like being able to do stylized stuff. I've done a lot of realistic stuff in my career, but for me personally, I think this stuff's a bit more fun. And the best thing about it is it's 99% modeling and 1% texturing. So it's every modeler's dream, and I think the stuff we do here is really, really cool.
I don't want to give you to make you give away any secrets, but there's a couple of few different Polygon style assets there on the asset store. I think you guys have kind of like started off a new wave. You did with the simple packs, a few people copied you there, and now with this one, there's a few that have come up. But your stuff just looks a bit different. I mean, just talking about 95% modeling, 5% texturing, but it just feels different when you look at it. Is there like some kind of magic trick that you guys are doing to get this look?
So this look is, I mean, the Polygon's, okay, so the Polygon look that everyone's got is generally triangulated and it's kind of a little meshy. What we've done here is we've actually kind of taken our simple style and done like simple 2.0 almost. So we still have a lot of quads in here. As you notice, a lot of the things are still just modeled regularly. We just have more sides to everything. So in simple, those little balcony things would have been maybe 4-sided, maybe 5-sided or something, and yet here we've gone and like doubled that. So for us, this is kind of a hybrid style. We're using what we've learned. You'll notice a lot of things like that window there is done very much the same as simple, but in simple that would have just been probably flat, and then it would have had, and then all the edges wouldn't have been bent up. So we're just going through and wonking things up a little bit. But at a technical level, the meshes are quite similar to our simple stuff, just a bit more res. So for us, it's just a matter of learning what we've learned from simple and kind of taking that into the next level. And we're not, most of this, I would say, Pirates especially, Dungeons a little bit different, but Pirates is 99% modeled by hand. We're not using any sculpting, decimating things. We're not doing any high res things and then crunching them. We are actually modeling all this stuff vert by vert. So I think that definitely helps as well. We are putting our touches on every aspect of it.
Yeah, there's a few tools out there to try and cheat and like get that look with a regular model, like to convert a model into a polygon look.
Yeah.
So like things like that, when you're using that, you're losing the optimization that you would get possibly from this method that you're doing.
No, exactly. And I mean, like for this stuff here, we did a couple of things texture. You notice like the sides of the buildings have this kind of stucco that's been kind of peeled off and stuff. Yeah. So there's a few things we are doing in this pack, specifically this textured. But yeah, you can definitely get tools that help you make this stuff. But for us, it's like it's just really taking the time to do everything by hand, and not trying to cheat too much.
So
there's no rush, I guess, would be the
take your time and do it right.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about optimization, do you have any like problems that you find with Unity? Is there anything that really you could get advice you could give other people to help them avoid the pitfalls of issues in Unity that you've come across?
So I can, for dungeons it's a little bit easier. This is an open world level, so it's a little bit more difficult. You probably want to use some sort of fog, and you have like some sort of culling on distance. For dungeons, for us, the demo scenes themselves run quite slow sometimes because you've got to have everything being drawn. But in game mode, you can turn on occlusion culling, so it'll cull stuff per room and only shows you what you can see. And that, like you go from a frame rate of like 10 FPS to like, a constant 60. So there's definitely things in the demos, like when you first open it up, you're like, this is maybe a little bit laggy, but it's super easy just to like use some of the Unity features like occlusion culling, static batching, things like that to get the performance up, in your actual game. That's where the key is here. When you're actually finalizing the game, that's when you can get all this kind of really good optimization. But in the scene view and in that respect, it's not it's not super easy to use some of those things. They only work in the game view. So for you, I think you could definitely turn it on while you're running around here. That would work. You could use occlusion culling, things like that. So that's definitely some things you could do for optimization. Reducing draw calls, so if you really needed to, you could just use the one shader. Currently this building's got a bunch of different shader variants on it, as there's different colors. But you could, certainly you could just use the one shader if you needed to increase performance. Plus, you don't have to have as much detail that's in here at the moment. We've really overdressed this stuff, so you could definitely get rid of some of the smaller things. At the very least, you probably want to have stuff kind of fade out at a distance. And you can do auto-lodding on the stuff too, but the stuff's already pretty low res anyway, that any lodding you're going to do might just crunch them to nothing, because the poly counts aren't too heavy on most of this stuff. But yeah, you can certainly look into that kind of things, because the meshes themselves are usually continuous, so that can be an option as well.
You got any secret packages that you got planned that you can give us a little bit of a sneak preview about?
So we're currently working on our dungeon pack, and it looks mind-blowing. But I mean, the pack might be released before then anyway. But apart from that, we're looking at doing some more city folk. We want to have a bunch more kind of city people that people can use. We're looking at maybe adding some like kind of specialist jobs. So we want to have like a construction worker, maybe a fireman, firewoman, that kind of thing. So that's definitely something we're looking at.
Can you add a construction worker, a cowboy, a policeman, and a fireman?
We have a policeman already in city, and we got a policewoman as well.
Do you have an Indian? It's an Indian, yeah.
No Indians.
No?
Yeah,
With a headdress.
No, we don't have an Indian. No, yeah, no. See, that's the thing. Like, there's a big thing on the internet at the moment about like stereotypes and racism and things, and it's it is getting a little bit strong in some aspects. So that's kind of played into what we're doing as well. We don't want to copy.
But how can you do YMCA if you don't have those?
No, I know. This is the point, right? Like, I mean, we can still have a bit of fun with stuff, but we definitely will be looking at doing a Western pack at some point. I think our deadline for that was before Red Dead 2 comes out. We definitely like kind of trying to line up with games that are similar themes, because it just builds a bit of a snowball, and people kind of like that kind of stuff. Around the same time, they'll be playing a Western game and be like, I could make a Western game. Where can I get some Western assets? So for us, that's a kind of a big pull.
I did see the poster in the city pack coming soon.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we had a bit of fun with some of those posters, but yeah, we are looking at doing Polygon War pretty soon. I don't know too many details about that yet. It will be most likely World War II with some World War I stuff in there. So just kind of like a stylized, pre-50s war package that comes with Americans and that kind of thing, but it's also quite generic as well. So we're looking at doing something like that, which personally that's a big one for me, because I really like World War II and World War I and that kind of thing. So that's kind of a personal favourite for me. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, we're not too sure. We just kind of play it as it goes, really. I'm just saying copyright's a big one. Like even for us, it's like if we go model a car that looks too similar to a Mazda, we could get in trouble. So
that's actually a proper serious problem for you. Like, if you model something that not takes the name, like you don't call it a Mazda, you call it something, but if it looks too similar to something, you could actually be in trouble.
Oh, you don't even know the extent of it. I made a little machine, a little Tommy gun, right? Little Tommy machine gun, a little cute one, and I called it M1A1 Thompson. And I couldn't have that. Unity denied it because it was copyright. So I was like, okay, sweet. I was like, okay, cool. So I called it Tommy Gun. Couldn't have that. That's also copyright. So I think I ended up calling it Cute Machine Gun, and that was okay.
Wow.
So yeah, copyright can be like, for us, we've got to be really specific. So. Like if we have like a Trump mask, generally we'll call it like El Presidente mask or something, like if we have a car, we've just called it medium vehicle, because we can't have any insinuation that it may resemble another car. And they do. I mean, they are based off real cars, because real cars, you look at them and you go, okay, cool, that looks like a car. If you make it look too different, then, just mentally you don't draw a connection to the two. So they are actually based off real cars. They are changed quite a bit, and they, we put the Synty badge on the front and all that. But there's definitely, you can say, oh, well, that kind of looks like a Camaro or something. So, we've just got to be really careful. We want to make cool stuff, but we also want to make sure that we're not breaking any rules. And we want to make sure that people using our assets, this is the most important thing, aren't going to get in trouble for using something because we've produced it, they've gone and used it, then they've got in trouble because it was copyright.
Us who use it appreciate it, and we thank you.
Yes, we try hard, but Unity's really good at it. Unity is very, very good at making sure that stuff is all kosher. So I think that's something that's, I really respect them about that, is they are looking out for their users. They're not just looking out for themselves, they are looking out for everyone, and they're making sure that everyone's going to get, assets that are legitimate, So I think that's, that's really good, and I think they've got a pretty good system on that.
So let me just ask you a weird question.
Yep.
If you had a time machine, and you could go back in time to visit you just as you started out doing Unity stuff, not like before you started doing the movie stuff, because you wouldn't believe yourself if you went back and you told yourself back then what you'd be working on. But
yeah, no, I wouldn't have.
What advice would you give the pre-Unity, just starting out you for doing these kits and doing these assets?
That's a tough one. Like, I don't know. Maybe. I don't really. It's just I've got to have a good answer for this, you know. Like, it has to be something inspirational to the younger artists out there, you know. Like, I would say just, you know, for me personally, I mean, I did a lot of this anyway, but just spend a lot of your spare time doing art, you know. Like, I mean, I know a lot of people that kind of do their 9 to 5 and then they go home and they play video games or they go to sleep, and I'm like, well, you know, I would always just go home and make art, you know. And I love 3D modeling. Like, I try and do it on the weekends even now, you know. I just love doing it. So, you know, don't just, you know, even if you have a job doing it, keep doing your own stuff, you know, and just do it all the time, because the more you can do, the better. It gets you better faster, and then it gets you better jobs, and it gets you better positions, and it gets you into a better spot, you know. So, you know, even teaching yourself stuff is great. And you don't have to show people all the time. You don't have to get feedback. Playing around with things and trying things out and not finishing them or only doing 20% is fine. Totally all good. You don't have to finish stuff, you know. You just have to, like, learn things and try things out, you know. I think that it's just important just to get in there and spend the time making stuff, you know. And I think it's the same with things like Unity, you know. Anything you can try out in your spare time is something that might help. Maybe you want to try and do some crazy shader stuff, or try some new things out, or learn a little bit of scripting, you know. It's something it's definitely worth doing. You know, there's no excuse not to. There's no excuse.
But well, that was very inspirational, I have to say.
Okay, well, that's good. That's maybe I planned it. Maybe it's all. I'm just reading off the script right now. I don't know. Yeah.
I just hope the record button's working. Mike from Synty Studios, thank you for your time. Really appreciate you taking the time out to come and talk to little old me and show some of your stuff, some of your beautiful, award-winning assets. Looking forward to you winning even more awards, and hopefully I can convince you to chuck a couple licenses my way to give away a competition at the end of this one.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, thanks very much, Missy Coda. It's been really good having a chat. And yes, I will throw through a few vouchers. You know, it was really cool to work on this package, and you know, it's really great to win. And you know, thanks everyone for voting. It means a lot to us. And yeah, we'll definitely hand out some free stuff. So you know, keep an eye on this channel, and yeah, thanks very much.
And how the music plays. If you want to see more of my crazy videos, click on the left side of your screen now, and down below there's that big juicy subscribe button, and right next to it is the magic bell that if you click it, it will tell you if I've got a new video coming out. Till next time.